Right, so let's start. Right. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. And welcome to today's webinar on enhancing IT operations with ServiceNow AIOps. We thank you all for taking time out from your hectic schedule for participation in this webinar. I'm Darren Koch, Regional Sales Head at Hadron GBS, and I have the pleasure of hosting today's webinar. Few housekeeping tips. Today's webinar will be recorded for future playback. All lines have been muted. Please submit your questions using Q&A chat window on the right side of your screen. Questions will be answered following the presentation. Joining us today is Mr. Zamir Inamda, our technical expert from Hadron GBS, and webinar will be facilitated by my colleague Shomit Mitra, Head of Marketing at Hadron GBS. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Another AI webinar? But trust me, this one is different. Imagine an IT system that anticipates problems before they happen, fixes issues before they are escalated, and release your team from constant firefighting. Sounds like magic? Well, it's real. It's called AIOps. Today, we are going to show you how it works, how you can turn IT headaches into strategic wins. Let's dive in. Next, please. So, what's on the menu today? No buzzwords, just real impact. Introduction to Hadron GBS, who we are and how we drive change. Deep dive into ServiceNow AIOps, where we will discuss on features, functionalities, and provide you to live demo. Then, we will witness few real-world use cases and success stories that prove how AIOps works. Later, we'll commence our Q&A session, where we all can exchange our thoughts. By the end of the session, I'm confident that you have a clear picture of how AI and automation can redefine your IT operations. Ready? Let's go. Next. We have an incredible lineup of experts joining us today. Tommy Chin, ServiceNow AIOps specialist, bringing AI-driven transformation. Beena, our enterprise IT expert, specializing in seamless digital workflows. Together, they bring years of experience, deep technical knowledge, and a passion for innovation. And I'm certain you're in great hands. Next. So, let's talk about Hadron GBS. We are not just another consulting firm. We are a team of problem solvers, tech enthusiasts, and digital transformation pioneers. Since 2020, we have been on a mission to redefine how business manage IT services. With a global presence spanning over Singapore, India, UAE, and USA, our experts provide innovative solutions tailored to your business needs. We don't just implement technology, we make it work smarter for you. Next, please. We provide end-to-end consulting covering enterprise service management, automation consulting, DevOps, ERP, CRM, and integration across the entire IT estate. Next, please. Imagine you're the captain of a futuristic spaceship. Your IT landscape is traversing through continuous changing digital universe. But system inefficiencies, outdated workflows, and hidden risks threatens to pull you off course. That's where Hadron GBS comes in, your expert co-pilot for a smooth and efficient journey. We analyze your IT landscape, pinpoint inefficiencies, and create a clear, actionable roadmap. We streamline workflows and apply industry best practices for minimum disruption and maximum efficiency. We provide training, hands-on support, and regular check-ins to ensure your team fully leverages IT solution power. We keep your system fast, reliable, and aligned with your evolving needs. Next, please. We at Hadron GBS have a team of certified ServiceNow and process experts who provide strategic consultation, end-to-end digital transformation, along with AI-powered IT operations. We also provide flexible support models, whether on-site, offshore, or hybrid, support tailored to your needs. We don't just talk about innovation, we live it. To share with you, our team recently showcased technical brilliance at a global hackathon, competing with the best to build next-gen IT solutions. Next, please. We understand digital transformation journey can be overwhelming, and we are here to help you to navigate through the unknown frontiers of your digital journey. So be doing your current state assessment, identifying areas of improvement, and providing you the proof of concepts. At Hadron GBS, we don't just offer solutions, we co-create success stories for you. Next, please. Now, let's take things a step further. I'm excited to hand this session over to Tommy from ServiceNow. We'll walk us through how AIOps works, why is it a game changer, and how it can supercharge your IT operations. Tommy, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Darren, for the amazing introduction. Let me just share my screen. As Darren mentioned, I mean, basically, I like to tell myself, a lot of people will call me AI ops expert or specialist, but generally, I like to call myself an victim of bad IT operations. So my background, previously, I was working with companies like Red Hat, MongoDB, where I was constantly trying to help troubleshoot a lot of IT operations issues. So when I was given an opportunity to lead the AI ops practice, definitely I'm sharing all my insights and all my experience on how to actually build a very robust and end-to-end AI ops platform using ServiceNow. And this will be followed by a short demo. So and I always believe in every presentation and every solutioning, we need to start with the why. So of course, people will question us, why are people looking at AI operations? Why are companies investing heavily? Why am I even sitting in this webinar, right, on AI ops challenges? And looking at some of the gaps in the current AI ops solutions in the market at the moment. Now, the good news is IT is really expanding. And I was talking to some of my CIO friends and said, Tommy, this year I have 50 different applications. Next year, I'm going to have 64 different applications. And all these new applications, each one of them have about 40 microservices, 3 integration platforms, and numerous databases. So the good news is, for us, we will never be out of a job. The bad news is, for us, we will never be out of a job because every single IT component that is introduced is actually something that we need to monitor and operate. So a lot of people say, hey, Tommy, it's fine. We'll just slap on a monitoring tool, right? Whether it's Nagios, Zabbix, SolarWinds, Datadog. So they start monitoring all these different systems. But it creates another problem because every monitoring system will generate a subset of data, right? Whether it's the health, the status, even in terms of application log. So you get thousands of machine generated signals coming from your monitoring solution. And worst of all is that as your digital applications are being used by end users, there are going to be tons of problems. And that's why ITSM is always very, very busy. Service desk tickets, because they are going to generate a similar amount of ticketing and issues, right? And this is where a lot of CIO says, hey, Tommy, it's crazy trying to manage all this. And this is actually the reason why a lot of companies said, hey, I really need to look at AI because all these are data points. I need AI to actually help me run IT operations, which is why Gartner has defined AI ops, right? They build a framework to say, hey, you have the data. Let's put the big data, run through some AI machine learning, and then it will come up with some result so that I can automate IT operations, basically like doing stuff like noise reduction, event correlation, trying to predict anomaly and causality determination, right? So this is where a lot of players in the market and they start to look at it and hey, this is AI ops. Let's go towards AI ops. And that's where you see a lot of AI ops solution in the market because everyone went crazy and they started to say, hey, you should do AI ops at the messaging layer. Hey, you should do AI ops at the observability layer. And a lot of companies spend vast amounts of money buying all these small spot solution AI ops. But when you look at it, right, that's where Gartner said, I'm so sorry, ladies and gentlemen. This is actually a bigger picture of AIOps. So as mentioned before, AIOps, the original promise is take data, all the data that you have, and then try and make sense out of it, and then generate some insights so I can do some form of automated operations. So Gartner has defined to say, okay, guys, this is the new AI ops. So first of all, you have the piece on the left, which is observability and monitoring, in which case, ladies and gentlemen, you probably have seen a lot of players. The main function of this is to take real-time and historical data, right? What's my CPU, what's my RAM, what's my application log? They will compare it against a historical analysis, in which case they will do either anomaly detection or prediction. So for example, it's Saturday midnight 2 a.m. and my CPU is at 50%, something is wrong. Therefore, we should trigger something to do something else. And of course, the joke is, if you pull a network cable in a data center, I'm going to guarantee you that at least 50 different alerts are going to come from your system, right? From the OS, from the database, from the application. Everything is just going to be lighting up in red. And this is where, on the left-hand side, Gartner has defined unique correlation and contextualization as well. But this is only half of AIOps, because on the left-hand side, they tell you what is going on. Right-hand side is where Gartner defines you need the engage piece. And this is ITSM. Why ITSM? Because ITSM contains important information such as incidents, dependencies, and my most favorite, changes, right? So the joke that I always tell supporting my customers, right? And whenever their database is down, their middleware is down, the first question that I ask them is, look, what did you do? Right? Because I believe, and a survey by Institute of Uptime, if you search in the Google Internet, they have stated that nearly 63% of all IT outages are caused by software changes, whether it is authorized or unauthorized. So on the right-hand side, Gartner says, in order for the AI to know what caused it, I need the incidents, dependencies, and the changes. And this is where there's also elements of knowledge management. What to do when that specific incident or outage or certain metrics come in, right? And this is where combining these two insights, the machine learning is able to generate a action or some form of automation, in which case I can either do scripting, API, Terraform, Ansible, or even doing RPA or some form of runbooks. Now, when we look at it, right, Tommy, I mean, that's what Gartner defined, but there are a lot of players out there that also have AI ops. And this is the challenge, I call it, right, with traditional siloed AI ops solution. Now, imagine you have 3 different monitoring solutions. Each one of them actually has AI ops, and they're all trying to make their AI machine learning. So let's say you say, hey, fine, I'm going to consolidate everything into one of the systems. From here itself, basically, this is where I look at the challenges with traditional siloed AI ops solution, where you have different monitoring solutions, A, B, and C as mentioned, and then there'll be an AI system that said, push everything to me. And then they will do some correlation and track down where is the root cause error and send for remediation. Or they will generate an incident to an ITSM system like ServiceNow, right? Now, the biggest challenge of it, and I'll use a real life example for this, right? All of a sudden, monitoring system A, B, and C starts to detect, A will detect the slowness, right? In a certain transaction. B will say, hey, you know what? These containers are actually taking up a lot of memory, right? The memory consumption starts going up. Now, if you were to pump this into AI system C, what the system will tell you is, hey, there's insufficient memory, so either spin up new containers or add memory. And this is what you will see on the left-hand side of the screen. But as mentioned before, because it's missing a lot of data, first of all, my favorite, missing change data. If you were to include change data in, you will discover actually this incident happened after yesterday, DevOps, right? Someone actually deployed new code. And this incident doesn't happen until this morning when the transactions start coming in. So if you were to use AIOps, just these boxes on the left, they will tell you spin up more containers. If you were to do AIOps on the right, including all the ITSM change management, then you have a more holistic picture. So the challenge is, first of all, you do not have things like change data. Second of all, you will see that the challenge is missing device configuration data as well. Because change data doesn't only mean application code changes. They could mean anything. Someone patched the router, someone did a config change on the server or the VM, or someone did a vMotion, whatever it is, right? You're missing the device configuration data, therefore you're unable to actually correlate. Now, the third thing is they are missing topological business service map. And what I mean is actually this. Remember the part that we talk about correlating, that this alert is affecting this alert that's impacting this alert? Now, in traditional AIOps, when they do not have the business service map, they use something called causality AI, which is an AI machine learning pattern that looks at certain signals and logs, like keywords like ABC123 server, and this one has ABC123 server. They are basically related to each other. Now, the joke is that is as if you're asking the AI to do a lot of guesswork, right? And this is where some of the AI ops solution is saying, oh, okay, in that case, let's import your service map, right? So that's where a lot of AI ops solutions also trying to bring in the service map from here. Now, the challenge is, as I mentioned before, if you don't have this information, you'll be doing remediation without impact analysis and a larger root cause. And the worst case is, as I mentioned, you get complaints from machines. You also get complaints from customers. So how are you going to correlate them together? How the ITSM team going to say, hey, look, there's something going on with this system. Please be patient with us, right? So basically, when I speak to customer about AI ops, right, these are the four key areas that I always advise customer. If you want to build something end to end, something comprehensive, something that not only detects, but quickly bring you across the RCA, remediation, and all that, this is something you have to consider. Now, the first section is you need to build the capability to detect and predict, right? So it's able to draw in all the different logs, all the different metrics, and detect and predict. So you either do it via business rules or you do it via AI. So you read all the entire hours data and then they will flag, hey, Tommy, something is wrong with this data, right? So this is the part where you actually rely on a lot of observability and monitoring solutions. But once you have these events, for example, the joke that I told earlier, when you pull a network cable, you will get 20 different events. This is where the second stage comes in, which is compile and correlate. And you need to correlate the events with a high level of confidence. Because the difference is, if you're not compiling the events correctly, 20 of those events actually deal with one root cause. The difference is, let's say 20 of those events, your system tells you is 3 different root causes. And then there will be a probability. If I fix this one first, it will impact this one will impact this one, and so on and so forth. And this is where you need a system that has service mapping, an actual service map of a simple system, which I'll show in the demo later on, how we are able to achieve that, so that you have with confidence that all these alerts and events are correlated together, right? And the third part of the correlation is to also correlate the events with other activities in the system, right? What are the tickets being logged? What are the DevOps changes being done? What are the system changes? Any vendor doing patching, so on and so forth. Because once you have this information, this is where you can use AI or human manual analysis to investigate and analyze. Now, the joke I always tell people is there's no inaccurate AI. The AI is always accurate. The challenge is whether your data is accurate and it has sufficient context and scope. So if I know what is going on, where it is going on, and I know what has happened in the past, I'm able to quickly investigate and analyze and come up with a pretty confident root cause analysis. Like the joke earlier, right? Instead of adding containers and adding memory, and I know someone did deployment change code, my RCA is to roll back that deployment and restart the service. It's not to add more containers. You see the huge difference between the actions taken by an inaccurate AI ops decision, right? So this is where you do investigate, analyze, and with this, you can look into automated remediation and recommendation. So what to change? Rollback, right? Do I restart the service? In which sequence do I restart? All these are done by runbook and playbooks. So from ServiceNow's perspective, actually, we cover the entire end-to-end solution, right? We provide the framework for you to build this end-to-end holistic AI ops. So the first level, of course, is to detect and predict. So detection and prediction, you probably have all the raw data, you probably have all the agents to collect them. You can either send them to ServiceNow. ServiceNow has the capability of doing health log analytics. There are some AI to detect metrics anomaly based on patterns, or even in terms of the log files, right? And this will generate the event for the next stage. However, as I've shared with you, we also advocate working with all your different prediction and monitoring solutions. So instead of predicting, you said, Tommy, I already have Dynatrace, Splunk. We are happy for them to do the AI detection and they send us the events to say, hey, Tommy, something is happening. Over here, another thing is happening, right? And this is where the second part of the boxes, the solution framework, is event management. Event management is really a lot of data sifting, right? Sifting through the entire data, grouping which alerts are connected together, what are the first alerts, what are the second alerts, which business service it applies to. And this is where ServiceNow does this better than anyone else, because the core concept of ServiceNow is CMDB. At the heart of ServiceNow, there is a database that contains all your different container informations, all your server hardware informations, all your different hosts, your storage, your network card, everything can be put inside the CMDB, right? And this information not only can be used for AI ops, but there are multiple use cases. Like if you want to do asset management, change management, DevOps change, my personal favorite, of course, risk assessment, everything can be done based on the CMDB. So your AI ops data, the events that come in, is going to be mapped to this, right? Of course, some people will say, Tommy, CMDB is really not a new term. It is as like the Beauty and the Beast song, it's a tale as old as time. What makes ServiceNow CMDB different? And my response and answer is always the same, right? A CMDB is like your CRM system in your company. If nobody updates it in 7 days, whatever forecast that you have or whatever opportunities, the data is completely useless, right? So we need to set up a system to automatically update your CMDB. We do achieve that using a module called ITOM. And we can do it either using ServiceNow methods. So we support agent-based and agentless discovery of all your device information in your IT landscape and populate it. And you can schedule it to run once every day, once every 2 days, and remove all the manual efforts of importing Excel. But of course, living true to our concept of helping customers, they said, Tommy, I don't want to use ServiceNow. That's fine. We also integrate with your existing tools because our main aim and job is to help customers keep a healthy CMDB, right? Now, at this stage, CMDB is only an inventory of what I have. I've got 50 containers and microservice. I do not know how they are related to each other. And this is where the next step is to go into service mapping. Service mapping is a process of linking all the different IT resources to form a small application, right? So I will know that this microservice, right? The front end is running on this web server. The logic is this web server to app server. And then these are the data sources. All the middleware in the middle are mapped out, running on which VM, running on which host, and running on which network card. So it's the same on cloud. We can discover everything from EC2 to your VPC and how they are actually linked together, right? So this is where we have both application discovery and dependency mapping, and we can do it for you in a semi-automated manner. Now, once you have this mapping, this is where we will go into the event management. So remember earlier on, we have a whole bunch of events coming in. The event will actually first go into the event rules. Look, is anyone doing deployment, maintenance? Should I ignore all the events? If no, it will transform and then it will be grouped together based on your CMDB, right? And this is where we add alert enrichment. So is there any additional information about the alert that I should know of that is inside the ServiceNow CMDB? And from here, this is where we do alert deduplication on the section 4 alert management rules. And then only it is pumped into the alert table, correlated and sent to a dashboard, showing and indicating everything. Now, on this end itself, this is where we just group all the alerts together. We know what is happening. We know roughly what are the root causes, but we do not know why it happened. And this is the part where we bring in the ITSM that contains a wealth of information, including what are the incident tickets, the knowledge base, the change management that is applied to that, any components in that system. And you can say that, honestly speaking, Tommy has been burnt many times, but I'm very suspicious of any change, right? From network changes to different changes, it may cause a lot of impact, right? And this is the most important integration that ServiceNow brings it all together for you to investigate either manually or via a different AI, right? And this is the most important. In fact, a lot of customers look at it. This is the value, right, of combining AI ops and human effort together. And lastly, once I have this investigation space, this is where I can integrate with my auto remediation, right? What are the scripts I should run? What are the playbooks I should run? What are RPA I cannot run? Go into the software, kill some processes. And you can be sure this is very highly accurate because we have checked through all the different possibilities of what is happening to this error. Now, with that, I'd like to switch to my demo. Let me just quickly bring my demo up. Okay, so earlier on, I showed you a screenshot of the service operation workspace. This is actually the real service operation workspace on my ServiceNow instance. And you will see that instead of seeing all the different servers, storage, network, and whatnot, these have all been grouped together, right, in application. So I can pick all the applications, I can group them together by alert. So all these are constantly being pumped by alerts from my monitoring, right? From Dynatrace, from Zabbix. Those that are okay, no alerts are in green. Those that have warning, right, are in blue. Those that are critical and major are in red. So as earlier I mentioned, there is a feature we call service mapping. So you can click on it and then say, look, to investigate, I don't want to look at the service details, so I just go to the map. And immediately, what ServiceNow does is it goes into the CMDB, it pulls up the map, and it shows the relationship between all the different components, right? So I know very quickly this service runs on a HA proxy. HA proxy, there's a Tomcat, and there's a Postgres and a slapd, right? And frankly speaking, very weird. There's a warning over here at HA proxy, nothing else. So I can click on it and check the warning. Wow, ITOM is telling me the certificate is about to expire. Send the note, ask the user, clean up the certificate, service normal. I wish this feature was available when I was still working in IT operations. The joke is I tell them I'll be able to go home for dinner earlier, right? I'll be able to meet my daughter's birthday all these different celebrations. I understand as IT operations, we're always very stressed, right? We're always very worried about deployment. Now, let's pick a different service because, Tommy, that's too simple, right? Certificate expiring, I can also do it by something else. So let's pick something critical in red. So I have an application called service mapping, order status. So I pull out the service map, and you can see this is a slightly more complex application. It's a microservice. So I have a cloud gateway API. This API has a Redis MS SQL to cache the order, and then I have an order creation service. Order creation service is just to throw it to a RabbitMQ. RabbitMQ is having warning. That's interesting, right? But this RabbitMQ sits on a glassfish that has severe warning, but Oracle has critical warning. So instead of going each and every component, calling up different teams and say, hey, guys, can you investigate this? We have pumped every single alert in this dashboard over here. I can click on any of that and find out. So for example, I can look at process on Apache on host RabbitMQ has stopped, right? So you can see I can open up the alerts. I can view the actual alert itself, the overview, right? And it will show you the details of where it got from. So this comes from a log file, Apache web server, that we scrape the logs and everything is put in. But you see, if I were to investigate every single error, that would be horrendous. It will be same as not having a service map at all. And this is where I have the ability, earlier on I talked about event correlation. You notice these are group of alerts, right? So I can open up the group of alerts. And these are my group of alerts. That's it. So basically what ServiceNow tell me, these three alerts are in the same service map. They are, I think, correlated together. Okay. Therefore, I put it in a group. I can check one by one. And this is where I inject a lot of AI into it because I have Gen AI. I can click analyze. So I have now assist for ITOM that will use Gen AI, summarize the whole alert. Hey, Tommy, you know what? The first alert is RabbitMQ died. RabbitMQ died because there's a warning code, status code, and then it looks like you're on Oracle, and then the infrastructure, it says that it's running out of this space. Ladies and gentlemen, in order to come to this summary, can I just have a quick guess? How long do you think, without this capability, how long do you think you will need to actually come up with this summary and synopsis? So everything about the alert is here, the identified issue, the topology map, the configuration item, the impact services, and the probable root cause, which comes to another feature that I would like to highlight, which I really love about ServiceNow. Now, you remember earlier on I spoke about the CMDB and the change management. I can actually open up the advanced map of the CMDB. So I'll say, hey, let's look at the service map from the CMDB view, right? So over here, of course, I have the alert and impact. You notice we are very powerful in tracking changes. So they have different versions of CMDB. The green shows that the system alert is okay. Starting from somewhere around here, I'm not sure, lunchtime, someone, okay, maybe yesterday night, it started turning red. So I can click on Oracle to see what is the alerts from Oracle. And this is my favorite, changes. Oh my God, from yesterday night to today, the changes is someone modified the file. Someone actually modified the file. That's why my Oracle is running out of this space. Okay, fine. I can track back. I can start emailing people and say, hey, who did the changes? Now remember the change management that we have. So if I go back to the same alert, because the CMDB shares the same CI name, whatever change management ticket is already listed here. So I can click on the change management that were listed, and they will tell me if it's authorized, unauthorized. Interestingly, the impact is low. I do not know why. Probably have to ask some people. I can click on config changes, and this will tell me exactly what changed on the order status service. This is a very powerful capability. This will reduce your MTTR, your speed to resolution, your speed to investigation. And my favorite is at the end of the day, you need to generate a report to your boss. All this is your investigation steps in order to generate that report. So from here itself, let's say I'll go back to the actual alert. The last part is actually remediation and recommendation, which earlier on I talked about that we can actually create playbooks, right? We can look at whether the instruction is manual, sending out emails, notifying people, alert remediation, right? So I have different choices. I can remove log files, I can expand disk space. Of course, right now, all these are actually irrelevant because the right thing to do is to roll back the change. Because if I remove log files and expand disk space, the setting is still there. They will still generate the same amount of log files, and the problem will reoccur in 3 to 4 hours time. So that, ladies and gentlemen, concludes the demo part of my presentation. And I hope I've shown enough that everyone could understand and appreciate, right? The ability for ServiceNow to correlate all the events quickly using AI and Service Map, to use AI to summarize those events to give a probable root cause analysis and some action items to move forward. So going back to this part, we'll come to my last section, which is playbook and auto remediation. So as mentioned before, you can create multiple different playbooks. You can do knowledge management, what to do at different stages in time. And that is where we actually provide a whole end-to-end AI ops proposition and messaging. So using this system, that rides on top of your observability and monitoring solution, right? It can be across your on-prem, your cloud, whatever monitoring, CloudWatch, everything will bring it in, right? All data models are integrated and correlated. And from IT operations perspective, zero swivel chair. No longer you have to call this guy, open up Grafana, give me this screenshot. Can you tell me why? Everything is in the ticket. Everyone works on the same dashboard and the same alert, right? And you have a single view from complaint, detection, decision, remediation. So earlier on, if I opened up another dashboard, you can see the number of customer complaints against that service as well. And a 360 view on what happened that caused that outage, whether it's performance degradation, right? Maybe hardware issue, or code change, config change, or maybe a user issue. There are like 600 people logging into the system at the same time, and you have zero confusion among teams. That to me is the value of getting ServiceNow AIOps to help you manage the whole incident lifecycle, alert lifecycle, and remediation action. So going back to the AIOps roadmap blueprint, this is our best recommendation. So on the left, you probably have monitoring solutions. Look into, first of all, building a CMDB with all the AIOps related resources. So you do not have to build the whole CMDB. Maybe you want to build and map out a specific troublesome service, account opening, login maybe, or balance inquiry, something that you're always facing problem with. And you map this in your CMDB, and you start pumping events and logs to the same platform. You feel free to reuse your current monitoring stack as well, or you can set parameters for anomaly. On the left-hand side, tie everything to the impacted CI that you map in the CMDB. Every single incident, every single DevOps change management, everything must be captured. Now, then the entire AIOps engine can summarize the RCA correctly, but you can also see manually how everything should be run, and the steps to resolution is completely clear. Wow, Tommy, it looks like I need a lot of products. Actually, we have bundled it all together, right? So on the left-hand side, you just need ITOM AIOps Enterprise as the main product, right? It will contain all the features that you saw earlier, including the connectors, everything. right? We have open telemetry connectors, cloud observability, or service graph connector that's also included to bring in data from other sources. Now, on the right-hand side, you need ServiceNow ITSM Pro, right? Which includes DevOps change velocity. This is my, I would say, pet peeve, because DevOps change velocity is a integrated feature that will get all the different changes from your CI/CD pipeline. So you can create change management ticket from there, but I always place a lot of emphasis on change management. And of course, there is Gen AI that requires Pro Plus SKU. And below, this is where on terms of act and automation, we have the integration hub and the creator workflow for you to create RPA, robotic bots, all this to actually remediate the action that we have. So that concludes my section of the presentation and demo, and I'm pretty sure everyone is now very, very psyched to see how ServiceNow and Hadron has worked together to solve customers' issue. So I would like to now pass the session and time over to Beena. And Beena, session is all yours.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Tommy. So let's bring in our slides. Yeah. So first of all, again, thank you very much, Tommy, for such a wonderful and insightful session on AIOps. Now, let me share a use case done by the Hadron team for a government-based health organization, which keeps the health records and the insurance details of all the individuals in their county or for the entire country. Now, right from when a baby is born, a record is created in the government's central repository. A unique identity card is generated and assigned to each person, which they can use, for their insurance claims or to check their health-related history. Now, this organization's IT estate comprised of a lot of complex systems and integrations with multiple insurance providers' portals. We had to ensure that features like the unique ID generation and the prompt OTP alerts for the medical insurance approvals and claims are always working. Now, looking at the criticality of the systems, AIOps capabilities such as alert correlation, log analytics, metric data analysis, and service mapping were introduced at the infrastructure level as well as at the application service level to keep the services 100% available. By continuously learning from the collected metrics and the log data, AIOps enables patterns to perform analytics and generates anomalies on the potential issues in real time. Furthermore, it creates the proactive alerts when any deviation is identified in the analytics. Such other events or alerts triggered by the system anomalies or by the performance issues were automatically linked to the specific components with service mapping, which helped in pinpointing the potential problems and accelerating the troubleshooting. With multiple integrations also in place, service mapping also helped identify which service is impacted or down and even helped fix those integrations. With predictive analytics, ingested data is processed on timely basis, automating the corrective actions for the fastest possible remediation. As a result, the system's reliability was improved and the downtime was also minimized. So now with this, let's move on to the next slide, please. Thank you. So now let me share some client success stories. The first one, which we did, was for a tech-driven government organization where they used AI ops to reduce the onboarding time. Now, generally, onboarding a new employee into the organization, you all know, includes tasks like creating the user ID, email account, providing permissions and access to the various different applications based on their roles, as well as whatever their security level permissions were. Now, this may take days to complete, and delay the user from being productive early. Now, by enabling automation tasks and AI ops to onboard or deboard the user from the organization, we were able to reduce 50% of the BAU onboarding process time. When user submits the request, after approvals, immediately onboarding process is completed and it notifies the user as well as the requester. AIOps tools improved the IT team's efficiency by automating the manual and the time-consuming processes, resulting in faster incident response times, lower operational costs, and of course, better resource allocation. Automating the IT tasks allowed the IT professionals to focus on strategic initiatives rather than the monotonous, repetitive activities. The second one now, if you see, is where the MTTR was reduced. By analyzing and interpreting the vast amount of data which was generated by the IT systems and the applications using machine learning, AIOps improved event correlation and helped identify the most critical issues that require immediate attention. AIOps also assists in prioritizing the alerts and the events based on their potential impact on the IT operations, and of course, even minimizes the alert fatigue. Furthermore, AIOps also analyzes the root causes by tracing the cause and effect relationships between the events. This streamlines troubleshooting, and of course, as we saw, speeds up even the incident resolution by pinpointing these underlying issues. Also, of course, reducing the unexpected downtimes as well as the latency. AIOps enhance the IT operations efficiency and even reduce the MTTR to 20%. And last but not least, increase in the customer satisfaction. As a result of this early detection, downtime minimized, and service disruptions reduced, the reliability of the IT services improved. Proactive issue resolution enhances the user experience by ensuring that the IT systems operate smoothly. Due to this, customer satisfaction feedback increased to up to 95%. The future is here. AI Ops isn't just a trend, it's the future of IT operations. We saw faster onboarding, smarter automation, rapid incident resolution, and happier customers. The question is, are you ready to embrace this change? And with that, we've covered today for you all in this session some truly insightful aspects of ServiceNow AIOps. I hope you all found this session valuable and thought-provoking. It's been an absolute pleasure walking with Tommy and Darren through today's discussions, and I truly appreciate the energy and the curiosity you brought to the table. Let's move on to the next slide, please. So now let's open the floor for your questions. And I'm sure many of you have thoughts, clarifications, or even challenges which you would like to discuss. Drop in your questions in the QA section. And for further communication, feel free to reach out to Darren directly. And once again, thank you for being such an amazing audience. Well, Darren, over to you now.
Thank you, Beena. And with that, we now open the floor for our interactive Q&A session. I'd like to hand it over to the panelists who will be leading us through your questions. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for that.
Samir, you're on mute.
Oh,
yeah. So we have an interesting question, right? What is the correlation in AIOps and how the correlation is happening, right? So I believe Tommy has given one joke part right? He said that just try to pull out one cable from your data center and look out that how many alerts you are going to be having in your system. And if you're having the multiple monitoring tool, obviously it's going to be flooded up with minimum of 500 or 600 alerts you will be having in the systems, and those are going to become from multiple infra, like it might be going from the Windows, it might be going from the servers, it might be going from the applications database, and every places you will get the multiple alerts. And if you're working with multiple teams, then it will be like every team is going to be run and trying to be address those alerts. Then that will be very difficult to be identify the root cause, who is the parent alert, which can be concentrate and to resolve the solution. So exactly the correlations will help you here. So it will give that which is the parent alert, which can be concentrated first to be resolved, and then with the help of service mapping, like Tommy has mentioned, it will be very easier to identify that, okay, which alert required to be first addressed, and then which going to be suppressed when you concentrate on those alerts. So this is all practical scenarios where Tommy has shown you guys that going to be addressed as a correlations in AIOps. That's called as a correlations in AIOps area. Okay. We have a couple of questions. Then I can see there's one good question. It's talking about that. Really, we normally discuss, right? AIOps going to be help you to identify the deviations, to identify that anomaly, that what is going on, where is the gap, and all those things. But does it going to help me in a capacity planning? Okay, so or definitely that AIOps is going to help you into the capacity planning. So how it is going to be help on the capacity plannings? So it can be do the predictive analysis. It can be say that, okay, what future is going to be have, or what future demand is going to become for you, which application is required to be scaling, right? Because for example, right, I'm a e-commerce company where every Friday I can see that it's going to be how the flood of requirements or flood of customers is going to be how visiting my sites and purchasing their multiple things. Then it's going to be create a lot of traffic and which making my application slower. In that case, obviously AIOps going to be help you to identify, okay, there are something upscaling is required on your infra side, and it can be definitely going to be help you to find out that how much upscaling is required, or it's required only for the Friday nights, then again going for the downscaling that can be required. So that type of capacity planning and dynamic scaling recommendations you can get from the AIOps. Okay. Then we have a questions about that MTR, that how MTTR is going to be help when we are going with AIOps, right? Or how it is going to be help you to increase or reduce the resolution time for any incident which going to be occur or which going to be happen into the infra, right? So AIOps is nothing just to identify the alerts, correlate it, and then hand it over to team which can go and resolve that incident manually, right? Here we are talking about the AIOps, which can be not only going to be identify the alerts and going to be create the incident for you, but it's also going to be addressed without any manual intervention. So it can be how that, for example, which example I have taken just before answering the question, right? If I am e-commerce company, identify every Friday, it's going to be, I require the dynamic scaling, right? Required to be increase my infra size, and after the Friday night, I require to be decrease that infra size. So I don't require to be the manual intervention there, right? I can have that recipes created, or I have that AIOps concept which can be directly go increase that my scaling those infra, and when the scaling is done, it can be reduce those scaling. So that type of MTR will help you to here in that case. Yeah, Tommy, do you have any more inputs?
Yeah, sure. Actually, definitely, completely agree. I just also want to add on from my own personal experience, right? Mean time to resolution, actually, for me, most of my incidents, the longest period is not detection. MPTD is very fast with a lot of AI ops. MTTR is slow because of the investigation and also the correlation and remediative actions. Most of the times, because I do not know what I'm fixing, my MTTR is dragged because I try this solution. If it doesn't work, I try another solution and another solution. So hopefully with the end-to-end AI ops, you can cut MTTR because you have better investigation. Sorry, I just wanted to add that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great input, Tommy, and thanks for giving that insight. So, like Tommy has mentioned, right, MTTR always going to be reduced when you have correlation in place, service mapping, and which is going to be give the address like which actual alerts you should target first, and make sure that it's going to be resolved, and obviously it will help you to improve your MTR. Okay. So one interesting question again, how does service mapping helps in AIOps, right? So, like Tommy's already given a one joke part, right? And I'm still thinking that what will happen if I remove the data center cable? So, obviously, right, if you don't have the service mapping, which is not going to be disclosed that which infra, which CI, which applications is depend on each other, then it's very difficult to identify the root cause of any event and root cause of any incident, right? So, service mapping will help you to do the correlations to identify that who is the causal CIs and which require to be target first. So service mapping is very crucial when you are implementing the AIOps.
Yep. Sorry, can I add on to that as well?
Sure.
Yeah, apologies. So a very good question. You notice ServiceNow uses the word service mapping. Not because our company is ServiceNow and it's ServiceNow branded, but there are actually different types of mapping in AIOps. I know certain AIOps tools provide code-based mapping, right? They will identify which pieces of code are slow. Some do infra mapping. But as mentioned before, the correlation and my experience with certain customers, certain actions or certain infra metrics may cause the code to run slow. Or certain codes are causing infra problems. The question is, if you only have a very one-sided mapping, right? You are still trying to run around in the blind. And I'm sharing this because I had a customer who was running SAP. Their Oracle database all of a sudden went crazy. And when they check on the application side, it's because someone submitted a batch process that actually failed, right? The corrective action is actually to kill the process and not to look at the infra. So that's why service mapping in ServiceNow by definition is to map out the infra dependency, the service performance, and in terms of coding, we map it out based on change management. Sorry, just wanted to add some color to that question. Sorry about that.
Great, Tommy. Thanks. Hey, thanks for that input. Okay.
So thank you, Zamir. Thank you, Tommy. Well, folks, that brings us to the end of today's session. I truly hope we have covered all your questions and provided the clarity you were looking for. Your engagement and curiosity can make this discussion even more insightful. If you have any lingering questions or want to continue the conversation, feel free to reach out to me directly. You can connect with me via email, LinkedIn, or the company portal via the QR code. I'll love to hear your thoughts and help in any way I can. Once again, a big thank you for you and your time and your participation. Keep exploring, keep innovating, and let's keep the conversation going. Until next time, take care. Thank you.